I am Erin Patten, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings, I am Erin Patten, also known as Master L, and welcome to the Meta Business Millennial. I am here with Vegan Shelf Lauren, and I could not be more honored, more humbled to be speaking with her today about her craft, about her journey, about her spiritual path. I mean, I can't even lie to y'all. We just had a whole prayer sound bowl ceremony before we started the recording. So I'm feeling centered. I'm feeling connected to source and really connected to the purpose that is this podcast. And so without further ado, I just want to have Lauren quickly introduce herself and share with listeners, with watchers, with viewers, you know, where she's at, what she's doing, who she is right now.
Well, thank you. I'm Lauren Vanderpool. A lot of people know me as the Queen of Green. You know, I am that I am, right? You know, we're talking about metaphysics. I could give you lots of flowery words and lots of accomplishments that I'm absolutely proud of. But, you know, most importantly, I'm grateful. I'm loved. I have great purpose, and I do a lot of cool things to drive that purpose, to fulfill that purpose. And a lot of the work that I do is in the field of health and wellness around food. So I'm an artist, and, my artistry is like, I liken it to the infinite petal lotus, right? It keeps unfolding unto itself. It keeps on becoming, and I'm constantly learning it. And so there's really no bounds with that, but most people know me for my food art, for my pretty plates and my stunning flavor profiles.
Yes, come on, profiles.
Yeah, and a lot of people know me for the work that I do in the realm of philanthropy with my nonprofit. I come from Washington, D.C., so when I grew up, it was the murder capital. Wasn't the easiest place to grow up in. I liken it to the war zone, a war zone, many. And persevering through that and coming to this point, really, it birthed the desire to always reach back and to lift up with the resources and the knowledge and the wisdom and that I've been afforded. So I do that. I have an Eat Yourself Sexy journey, which is right now we're currently on day 15. We do it once a month. And right now we have about 170 people on the journey. And it's just beautiful to take people through a sacred rhythm, right? And pour into them. We have instructors, sometimes 3 times a day, every day, teaching you breath work, teaching you meditation, teaching you financial literacy, teaching you healthy recipes, information about sea moss or how to make a beautiful soup. And it's a plant-based 21-day journey. For me, the results that it has given me is amazing, which is why I offer it. But to see people glow up and grow up and expand and start businesses and have families and get pregnant when they didn't know that when they were told that they couldn't, all of these amazing things. So that's really the core of who I am, I'm here for the upliftment of myself and all of us. So.
Let's go. I love that you really acknowledge where you come from in your journey, and especially the giving back aspect, because the giving back can be contentious for some people. Some people may have some trauma, some scars from where they came from. So going back to where they came from cannot be the easiest path or journey. Can you share a little bit about, healing from this war? You alluded to it being almost like a war zone, war torn experience, and being able to go back with this heightened, elevated vision for healing. So how were you able to make that transition for yourself?
Well, first of all, I had to run, or at least I thought I did, but I did run. And I ran as far away from that reality, just as far away of it that I could, and I created a new reality, right? Because I knew that I could. I understood the metaphysics of the imagination, right? I understood the power, the non-physical energy coming out of my mouth even right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
The potency that it could carry, especially if I charged it with a feeling, right? Especially if I streamlined it with a vision and with actions to follow up with that, right? And so once I understood that I could do it, I did it. Like my life depended on it, because it absolutely did.
Period.
From
Yeah.
I come from a father who was a kingpin, who got locked up at 3 when I was 3 years old, who's still serving. He's been there for 34 years, right?
Mm.
So that in itself created so much for me as a child, so much pain, an inconsolable cry, and it turned me into a fighter. I didn't go the whole route. I went the thug route.
Yeah, I feel you.
you know, and so that route, a lot of my friends died. A lot of them were murdered and just stabbed or killed, just cold blooded. I mean, just was it 2 weeks ago on Monday? Two people I know were killed. One from addiction and one shot in his head and his chest. These things I had to come to grips that this reality, even if I bubbled it in and I said, Lauren, okay, we're going to get out of that environment and we're going to heal ourselves. And we know that this is happening. This was my magic trick. I know that this is happening, but it was too much for me to digest it daily. So I needed to create a fairy tale world for myself.
Yes.
And that I could frolic in, that I could be Lauren and not be afraid, like, oh shoot, is someone coming, And in that process, I've always reached back, but I knew I had to. It's not easy, because it's like reaching your hand into the fire, right? There's a possibility to get burned, right? But when you have seasoned hands, it doesn't burn. You start learning the fire. You start being able to bend it. You begin to become familiar with the metaphysics of it, right? Anyway, I can go on a tangent about it because it's just so much. But how did I reach the point of giving back? Is it I always knew that I really was born for this. I think God placed me in that environment so that I could see what was going on, so that I could help, so that I could experience it firsthand, to know that this was not okay, and that people need my help, and that I can help in a way that was love for everyone, and that I didn't have to do it the way the people before me did it, right? We're not about, for me personally, of course, the Martin Luther Kings and the Malcolm X's, we love them, but we saw what they did to them. So we don't want to follow that. We want to do something a little different, right? We understand
Right.
that the more that we fight against something, the more strength we give it. That's the metaphysics
Mhm.
of energy. So if we pull our attention
Yes.
from it and starve it, it doesn't have enough, it doesn't have anything to feed off of. So we put our energy where we do want it, and we see that grow and become abundant. And so that's really what I've been doing, this whole, since I woke up 24 years ago. Anyway.
Okay. Well, we got to talk about the wake up story because that's really what it is. Because it's really nice to talk about metaphysics now and spirituality now, but when you was a thug, that wasn't on your mind, right? And I understand the path because same, like my father too was incarcerated. My sister was murdered when I was young. And so I had a very kind of warlike existence as well, but I chose to mask instead and, be a perfect little princess most of my life as much as I could be. And it wasn't until that awakening where I was really able to feel, like I realized that I never even felt emotions before that awakening for me. And that came after my father passed away, really, when my father passed away. And it was almost like a recycling. And my father passed away. My best friend was murdered. So it felt like I was a child again, but as a grown ass woman. So I really had to face my life, face my current reality in a way. And that really kind of shook me up, if you will. And I had no choice but to turn to God. And for me, that was my path of trauma, one kind of a tragic one. However, for some people, it may not look like that. And I'm really interested in understanding, like, what was that wake up journey for you?
I got stabbed in my head. Man, I can't, the amount of times I got shot at, that I was living a different life, completely different life than what people see. People don't, when I say it, it's so funny because people think they really don't believe me. And it's so cute. And I get it. I love it that I've healed this much that people are like, she is welling. She stop lying, Lauren, really. Oh, you was doing all that. You was ducking bullets and that. Well, yeah, when that happened to me, I didn't even try to change. The change changed me. It just happened through me. I had no, it happened so subtly. And then one day I just was like, I'm different, but it happened. I got stabbed. Man, that was I fought every day that weekend. It was, I was just wilding out. It was just, I was on a low frequency.
Right.
And after that happened, I just stopped going outside, stopped hanging out with the same people. I just stayed to myself a bit. And in that being with myself is where the magic started happening, because the magic is here.
Yes.
I didn't know, it wasn't activated, but that hit. I got stabbed in my temple, right? So there's tapping techniques. If you tap here, you tap certain parts of your body, you can activate certain other parts of your body. And so the temples activate the pineal gland, right? It's activating that third eye. And so that's where it was just like miracles started happening.
Yes.
I was ended up being a lifeguard, and in this rich area, Tenleytown in DC. And I started, it was older rich white people there. So they didn't need me to lifeguard. I was just reading my book. I found a book called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And that was one of the first books that opened me up, that made me feel like some more depth in myself. And then I just started to listen. It would be like very subtle, but like, get on the bus, and I would do it. Or like, I just started listening to this voice, which my intuition, do this. And it led me to walking into this bookstore called the House of Kemet. and went straight to this book called Heal Thyself by Queen Afua. And I read the book in a day. And the next day, I mean, mind you, I had a Snickers, some chicken wings and mumbo. So, I was, no matter of fact, I'm lying. No, I did have a Snickers, but I didn't have the chicken wings and mumbo. So, but I was eating that. I wasn't completely vegan. I think I had become slowly, I started eating more consciously, but that book took me over the edge. And the next day I was a raw foodist. I was like, I'm not going to just be a vegan. I want to eat all raw. And I did overnight. Literally, I was like, what? This food does this? It was like a light bulb. When I found food could do stuff for you, I'm like, what? How come I didn't know this? So it was just like, I found it, but I honestly, I gotta say that I already had it there, but I didn't realize it. My great grandmother, who's the first medicine woman I knew, she made medicine all the time. She grew her own food. Like, she always made her own medicine. The knowledge base, like, I don't know, it was like the light bulb. Wow, you can eat papayas and it has digestive enzymes. Wow, it's good for your skin. Wow, you can take burdock root. It's good for your blood. It's good. I'm like, what the heck? So that's really where it started. And once I changed what I was eating, the cells in my body changed, right? So I started getting higher and attracting higher frequency people, more knowledge. It just like, it was like God was teaching me.
Yes.
It was a completely metaphysical, out of this world experience that words cannot even describe.
Yes. I love that because, as I mentioned to you before, a lot of our listeners are coming out of very traditional life paths, like having gone to school or some sort of professional school, and come on now, being a celebrity chef. Like, she failed to mention that, but she's cooked for Lauren, Queen of Green, has cooked for the likes of Cooks for a Comment, Oprah, all kinds of celebrities. And you would think that you would need to have gone to like the Cordon Bleu, or like worked at a 5-star Michelin restaurant, or have done these amazing things to have reached those kinds of heights. Yet you're saying now that all I did was read a book, change the way I eat, and then this activated this latent potential within for me to be able to share with other people. And I'm obviously filling in the blanks here, but I would love for you to walk us through, how do you go from eating Snickers and chicken wings to then being a raw food chef overnight, and then being able to have the courage and I would say that the passion, the persistence to continue with that to the point where you are today?
Well, I'll say this. I didn't become a raw food chef overnight necessarily, although I became a raw food enthusiast.
Okay.
I became so engulfed in it that that's all I was consumed with, right? And I started volunteering at this place called Everlasting Life in DC, right near Howard University. The whole like Georgia Avenue corridor was lit with like these metaphysical stores. Like, it was just like where all of the Afrocentric, the House of Commit, like it was like so popping for me. And I lived in DC my whole life. I'd never seen it, but I started volunteering there in exchange for their produce. And they had a juice bar in the back. And again, I was a raw foodist, but I was eating more mono meals of food, or like simply, I wouldn't be making all these extravagant things. But then I did get hungry, and I was like, so I started making some like my own dressings. I was like, this is actually good. I started making like these like raw tarts and savory tarts and all. And I was like, I should sell these. So I started selling them across the street. Well, actually not just across the street, but I would just have a little cart, and I'd go into the local businesses and see if you want some pies. I got these juices today, or go on the Howard's campus on the yard and sell my stuff. And that's how it started. And I was so enthusiastic about it that I was telling everyone about it. I mean, to the point where Bradford Young, who I didn't even know, Bradford Young, who is a director for Star Wars, for director of photography for Star Wars. He was there. I didn't even know up until fast forward. He saw me. He was like, "Oh my God, I'm like, damn, this is I feel like a G." But anyway, long story short, I was so excited um, about it that I was sharing it and I was feeding people, right? And then I'm a hustler, I'm from uptown. So I was like, instead of selling weed or drugs, I'm going to sell pies. And then I saw that there was a juice bar. And I said, okay, well, I asked the guy, I said, hey, can I sell my pies out of here and I'll run your juice bar for you. So he let me do that for a little bit. And I just started getting a clientele. So people knew about me from then. So I guess my godfather at this time, he's the owner of Egyptian Magic, the skin cream, which I have to get you some.
Yes.
He had ulcers and he had issues, really bad issues. They were going to cut 13 inches out of his colon. And he heard about me, and he is the first person I ever was a chef for. He said, hey, I want you to be my chef. It's a whole really, really deep story that I need to write a book about, because at this time I was 18. I had my son. At this point, I'm a teenage mother who is going through an extremely abusive relationship, which for me, it was a karmic cycle I was breaking, which I was victorious in, thank God.
Let's go. Come on, God.
Okay. And but anyway, around that time, it's like we rescued each other. The story is so deep. Oh my God. Like, I'll just give you the short of it, because it's an important part of the story that a lot of people don't know. So I went and I ran away. I told you it was an abusive relationship. I ran away and lived in a monastery with my son, metaphysical monastery called Nazaria Monastic Community in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, right? And they only wore purple. They had their own leg. I mean, it's monks and nuns, and everyone's wearing purple. People would think it's a cult, but it transformed my life, right? Because I got to be quiet, away from everything. No city, no sounds, no lights, just pure and the liberty. So I was meditating so much, and so much was coming through me that when I went back to DC, within a month, I found my first millionaire client, who's my godfather to this day. That's how I attracted that into my life. And literally from there, my life changed. He gave me all this metaphysical knowledge, and I took it and I applied it and I ran with it. I set my intentions. I created affirmations around it. I visualized, I meditated, I was laser beam focused. Within a year, I was in culinary school. Within a month of being in LA in culinary school, I was catering the Oscars, the Grammys, American Music Awards. From there, it was like I went from having the worst days every day, like running from this guy. It was just like terrible, to having all great days. Like my life has been so abundantly blessed, right? And you mentioned that I had worked for Oprah. I've never worked for Oprah. I know Oprah. I met her at Maya Angelou's house, actually at Maya Angelou's Dr. Queen, Auntie Maya's house, when at her homegoing service, but never worked with her. But I have been blessed to work with the likes of Stevie Wonder and Serena and Venus Williams and Common and Cedric the Entertainer, and work with Michelle Obama's obesity prevention campaign. And for me, what I'm proud of mostly about that is not that I've worked for them, right? Because that could, I'm an artist, I'm a healer, I'm a creative, and I sometimes people misunderstand my positioning and what I do as a service provider, as a healer, as a chef, right? So, it's a sacred process for me, right? These people find me. Every client that I've had, they've come to me. There's no way I could seek these people out. Maybe there would, but that was never in my mind. These people came to me, which lets me know that my vibration is that I've done such good work on myself that people would need my vibration as medicine to catapult them into their oneness, to take them to world number one, to bring them back on tour after 25 years, to help them win an Oscar. They want me, right? And so that is we're going to take it to the metaphysical, because it's not me. It is the vibrational qualification to do this work. You know,
Yes.
it is that God has chosen me, and I have allowed. You know, I've stepped into that law of allowing for it to stream through my body temple to do that work. You know,
Let's
so
go.
it's not about oh, you know, I think people get me confused because I'm a Leo, and I do like to, you know, I've already had a rough life. You know, I've already done all that. I'm in my joy. I don't care what, you know, I'm living. Okay. I'm life is what are we talking about here? You know, so people could get that confused with my potency, right? Because it can look very surface level, right? But there's so
Yes.
much depth. You might think you're jumping into a baby pool, honey, but honey, there is no end to this. There's no.
Hey, they need to know.
Stop playing. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, don't play with her.
So yeah, so yeah. Anyway, the journey has been beautiful, and it was like overnight, but it even still feels overnight, because 24 years doesn't seem like it's passed, but it has. You know, and working with some of the most amazing people on the planet, you know, how I look at it is like it's a chance. It's like I'm sourcing. I'm feeding, right? I'm feeding them so they can go out there and crush it. You know, not
Yes.
food, but with the healing, with the meditation, with the holistic approach. You know,
Yes.
I offer what I offer to champions, to my Eat Yourself Sexy journeyers. And I don't even have to promote the journey, because the journey promotes itself. People just, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, it's the best thing ever. You know, this is my experience and everything. And it's beautiful, you know, because you think about, it's one thing if I was just doing it, or it's just, but when we're all doing it at once, there's 170 people right now, all fasting, all on liquids right now, right? Because 3 weeks, the first week we do 80% raw, 20% cook, and then we go into 100% raw the second week, and the last week is all liquids. And the transformations are so powerful, because it's not just food centered, it is the breath work, the meditation, the focus, setting your intentions, all of those different things that that really catapult people into their greatness,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
they realize that they're their own healer. They did it. You're like,
Yes.
oh, I did. I did.
Yes. Yes. And that's the most amazing thing about being a healer, is activating and awakening that potential in others. And that's really what we've been called to do. So I really resonate with that journey that you shared, because a lot of times, I mean, like I said, this is a Meta Business Millennial podcast. We got to get into business. And coming from where we come from in the business landscape, you not only hustle, but you're constantly networking, you're constantly talking to people. It can feel and become very transactional. And little do we know the power in stillness, which you shared was part of your journey with them at the monastery, and trusting, how you talk about, you just allow God to use you,
And bring
and
it.
then bring it and then attracting it is the most important thing, is because what's not for me won't be mine. You know what I'm saying?
Can we just talk about, okay, this is, okay, you, Harvard graduate, crushing it, doing you asked me to be on your podcast. I feel honored and so like, look at this, I
Yes.
anything for granted, right? Because I come from very humble beginnings, and I keep that that humility, and I'm just so honored and grateful that I am at a point where I would be attracting people like yourself,
Oh,
into my life. So it's yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes. It's because I feel it's a time where we're all rising in a sense, and we're rising despite where we come from, and or because of where we come from, all of the things. And we want to be able to connect collectively so that we can continue this movement, because for me it was in isolation for way too long. I did not necessarily have the guides. I didn't have the mentors. I didn't have the family support. I didn't have the friend support. I was on this journey, especially the metaphysical journey, solo. And to your point, that's how it has to be sometimes. Like, we have to get away, like your Arkansas experience, you have to get away from the noise, you have to get away from people in order to really self-actualize into that infinite lotus flower that you were talking about. I love that metaphor. I have the lotus on my wrist, so I'm just like always lotus vibes.
Yes.
and and so with that being said, I would love for you to share more about you talked about the journey with so is it women that you work with on your Eat Yourself Sexy? But I would love for you to just dig
All
into a
people.
little bit. All
Not,
people, okay. Mm-hmm.
go ahead. What were you
So
saying?
yeah, I wanted you just to share a little bit more about what the program looks like and how it started for you, maybe more about that.
I care about my people, my community, right? So I'm like, all right, let's do this. This was before the pandemic. So I did a couple journeys before that. Everyone loved it. It was so great. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, everyone was in a panic. And I was just like, okay, they don't know what to do. Everyone's just like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, okay, baby, come on over here. And we're gonna let me show you what to do. Let me show
Yes.
you these herbs. Let me show you how to make this decoction. Let me show you how to tap into your breath. Let me show you how to tap into these fruits. Let me show you the power coming out of your hands that you can charge everything around you with. Let's
Mm,
get into the power that you hold, that we hold. And so that is how the journey, started. They were talking about COVID-19, and I was in India doing a women's conference, and which was huge. I'm speaking on a panel with Nelson Mandela's granddaughter. It's like next level. I'm like, all right, this is lovely. Anyway, I come back, and this is like now like the shutdown basically. I'm like, oh
yeah.
no, get out of here. So I decided to drive to Tulum from LA. Well, I decided to drive to Belize because I have family who has property there. So I was just like, you know what, I'm getting out of America. I'm gonna, I, me and one of my friends drove through Mexico to Belize. We got to the border, and then they said we got there one day too late. They closed the borders. I was devastated. So I go to
Mm,
Tulum, and I'm there, and I was like seeing online, everyone is just like, I'm living great, right? I'm like fruits and I'm like, everyone's struggling. So I decided to put this program together, and I taught every class initially, every single class we offer, even the workout classes, which
yeah.
is hysterical. But I was like, no, we're not gonna do this. And I wanted to make it affordable for everyone. So I had priced it at $33, right? I was like, 21 days, $33. Y'all gonna get this healing, right? Now this could have been
Right.
uh $1,200 to $3,000. But I was like, you know what? This is for my people, right? So yes, I taught them how to make all their herbal medicine. We have a plant medicine class. We have the food demonstrations. We have breath work meditation. We have astrological forecasts, which I didn't do. My friend Kalik did. We have what else do we have? The financial literacy class, workout. I mean, we have so many. I started getting people on, like, can you teach a dance class? And then I just thought about my community, and I was like, okay, let me have you teach this class. And I have so many teachers that are teaching every day. What's today? Today's Thursday. Today is plant medicine. So April is on. We have a morning meditation every morning, every rising with Gray. Gray Mars from the stars is what, her whole thing. And she
I
comes
love
on,
it.
she does the rising check-in to make sure everybody's feeling good, get some breath work in. If anybody has any questions, she can either answer them or direct them back to me, whatever. So it's really a great program. It's a huge community. People love it. There's people who've been on it since the beginning and they're still on it because we're a family, so that's the journey.
Oh, I love it so much. And you do offsite retreats too? Because I was thinking that, so, okay.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do offsite retreats. Most of the retreats that I do are like usually smaller for clients that, some of my big clients who want private kind of experiences, but I also do larger ones. Everyone's been getting at me to do the next Eat Yourself Sexy one. We did one in Atlanta where I offered a 6-course tasting, cacao ceremony, meditation. It was just really amazing. But
yes,
we have more coming up in the new, in this year, 2023 and beyond. So everybody definitely stay tuned for those.
yes. Well, we're coming towards the end of our podcast. I could talk to you all day, sis, for real. But I just want to invite you to just have some parting words with our audience, something that really you would hope for people to leave this podcast with from you.
Keep your heart light, keep your heart as light as a feather and remember to breathe. Sometimes we're having a tough time and it's as simple as taking a deep breath.
Yes.
It's drinking some water, and not just drinking water, but understanding that we are the medicine.
Yes.
We are the most magnificent thing. Our body is like the most complex thing that has ever been made. There's the systems happening within us. We are it. We are the holy ground. We are the ashram. We are it. And so if you ever question that, just take a deep breath and remember yourself. Remember that you are beyond this body, but you are existing within it. And be in that gratitude. Things could be going on all around you, and they oftentimes will, but you are the holy ground. You are the temple. You are the medicine. You step into the world as that light, and all of the darkness vanishes when you come. So just remember that, and stay in love, stay in the heights, and thank you so much.
That was perfect. I mean, I don't even have to build on that, y'all, but if I have to reiterate, just stay in yourself. You are the holy grail. That really resonates with me. And we are our own healers, period. And I love that. We can eat ourselves sexy. We can eat ourselves healthy, like you did for your godfather. We can eat ourselves to wherever we want to go. So I love that journey that you just shared with us. And for folks that maybe want to join next month's or your next retreats, how do they get in touch with you? How do they follow up with you? Please share.
Yeah, just go to laurenvanderpool.com or just go to Queen of Green on Instagram. That's probably easier to spell. Queen of Green on Instagram. And my website is in the link on my bio, and you can find me there. I have a lot of cool things that I'm sharing. I have a caviar limited edition vegan caviar that I'm launching within the next month, which I'm really excited about. And my knives are coming out. I have the new bold knives that are about to pop. So check all of those yummy things out. Some aprons, some really cool. I got some art stuff. I can't wait to show y'all. This mess is actually some cool stuff back here. So, stay tuned for it. And yeah, thank you for having me here.
You're so very welcome. And I, again, am so honored and humbled to have had you as a guest. Everyone, continue to follow the Meta Business Millennial podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and you can check out our website, themetabusiness.world. I am Erin Patten, also known as Master L. It is my pleasure, honor to serve you and all of humanity. We love you so much. All right, peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatten.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.